Can you increase cortisol with food? Yes, let me show you how. So how can you raise your cortisol with food? And why is that so important? Because cortisol helps your body release stored energy. Cortisol is produced by your adrenal glands in a natural circadian rhythm, high during the daytime and low at night. Cortisol also spikes with stress, any stress, excitement, eating, exercising, and of course, if you're really in danger, cortisol rises. Cortisol's role is to release stored sugar. It does that by telling your pancreas to release glucagon, and glucagon is one of the two hormones your pancreas produces. The other is insulin. Insulin gets sugar into your cells, glucagon gets sugar out. You store sugar in your muscles and your liver, about 400 calories worth of energy, enough to sprint away from danger. The rest of your sugar is stored in your fat cells, mostly the white fat around your middle. We often hear about cortisol being a bad hormone, but there's no bad hormones. There's just imbalanced hormones that create problems. Too much cortisol can be a problem. Because if you're not running away from danger and using all that extra cortisol, it begins to break down your body. That's because unused cortisol is converted to cortisone, which is a natural anti-inflammatory, which dissolves inflammation. And that's great if you're really running away from danger. You're going to need it to reduce the inflammation caused by the fight or the flight. But too much cortisol can break down healthy tissue too. You know this if you've ever used cortisone cream on a rash. If you use too much for too long, the skin thins out. If you've been under a lot of stress, forcing your adrenals to make lots of cortisol, they'll eventually get tired and produce too little cortisol. Low cortisol causes fatigue. You just don't have enough get up and go to accomplish much of anything. At first, your energy level plummets just in the late afternoon. That's when cortisol is naturally lower, and most of us need a siesta. But people with low cortisol can't function at all. Most of us tend to reach for sugar and caffeine when our energy plummets, and caffeine will naturally stimulate your adrenals. You'll make a little more adrenaline, which will stimulate cortisol production if your adrenals have the resources to do so. There are better solutions to raise cortisol, better foods. First, your adrenals need adequate fat to raise cortisol, like olive oil, coconut, avocados, nuts and seeds, and fatty fish. They provide your adrenals with the essential fat it needs to make cortisol. Be sure you're getting at least a half a gram of fat for every pound of your lean body mass. For instance, a 130-pound woman with a 20% body fat has 104 pounds of lean body mass. So she needs at least 26 grams of fat daily to help her adrenals make enough cortisol. Then be sure you're getting enough leafy greens. Leafy greens, especially sea vegetation, are rich in minerals and other vital phytonutrients that support healthy cortisol production. Your goal is to eat at least 2 to 3 cups of greens daily. Sauteing your greens in olive oil will make the minerals much more bioavailable. Remember, greens cook down, so be sure and fill your pan. You can use the leftovers to make a frittata and get good fat from the egg too. Now, protein is also essential for healthy adrenal function. Your adrenals don't only make cortisol, they make DHEA too, which controls your protein and fat metabolism, and aldosterone, which controls your salt-water balance. All these hormones are made from essential amino acids. So if you're not getting adequate protein, you won't have enough resources to make adequate cortisol. So raise your low cortisol level by being sure you're eating at least a half gram protein per pound of your lean body mass. There are lots of free online tools to calculate your lean body mass. They're not as accurate as underwater weighing, but they're close enough. Animal protein contains all the essential amino acids. 4 ounces of poultry or fish has 20 to 25 grams of protein. If you're a vegetarian, no one plant source has all the essential amino acids that your body needs, so you need to combine legumes with grains to be sure you're getting what your adrenals need to make enough cortisol. Now, if you're struggling with low cortisol, please consider supporting your hypothalamus. You'll learn more about how in our hormone reboot training, where you'll also learn about how to improve your adrenal function naturally. For more great health tips, check out what I've got for you in our next video.